Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the City of Spires. This is a live Let's Play of Ironsworn set in a Dungeons & Dragons style dungeon crawl in the ruins of the Undercity, which is a random dungeon generator written by Kabuki Kaiser for Labyrinth Lord and other early Dungeons & Dragons retro clones. We are playing a game of Ironsworn, a narrative powered by the Apocalypse style game by Sean Tompkin. And we're playing a party of two characters, Pembra the Knight, our kind of party face, and Cormac the Cryptic. Let's see, we're having a little issue here. Here we go, Cormac the Cryptic, who is a kind of a haunted sorcerer. So he's not evil, but he does carry around a dark necromantic tome, and he's an alchemist. So he is kind of the sage of the party. He's our sorcerer. And maybe a driving force behind some of the inquisitiveness, whereas Pembra is in this to plumb the depths, solve quests, help people, and make a name for herself. At the end of our last episode, we finished mapping this significant portion of the second floor of the dungeon, and we came out of it with significant history or information about the history of the ruins. We learned that this portion here, the kind of jagged cave portion, was dug by a race of people who were forced to dig their own graves. And we found a mysterious statue here, and then a tunnel leading even further down into the dungeon. And we have found frescoes and things that have lined other rooms. And all of this information, this history of the ruins, is the kind of information that one of our allies, or I guess acquaintances, you might say, Hobarton the Young, a member of the Sages Guild, he's been looking for those, and he's offered to pay us if we can find him enough information about the ruins. And so at the end of the last session, we just retreated. We returned to the Cracked Anvil Inn, which is our home base in the City of Spires. It's not a small inn, right? It's not a large inn, it's not small, it's just kind of a medium-sized traditional fantasy style inn. But it's where Pembra and Cormac have kind of set up shop. It's not too far from the only entrance they know to the Undercity. I'm sure that there's countless entrances to this vast underground world, but they don't know where most of them are. So they've only got the location of one. It would actually be nice if we could find another, because the one that we know is we only have a very tiny portion of the first floor accessible, and then after that we have to head down further into the dungeon, which makes things more dangerous. And now, in the last round, we found a way down to the third floor, but I'm not going to be exploring that quite yet. Instead, we are up in the City of Spires. We make our first night's rest. Both of our characters are in pretty good health. I think Cormac, he's missing one spirit, but that's not too bad. Not necessarily worth resting over right now. Maybe I'll do that before we head back into the dungeon. Because we're kind of hacking Ironsworn to work with a traditional dungeon crawl style game, I'm trying to resist gaming the system by spending too many nights resting, things like that. So, but I believe today most of our session is going to be probably above ground city crawling. So, first off, we are going to try to... Here, hold on just one second. I keep accidentally deleting these things. There we go. Okay, so we need to find information on the history of the ruins. This is for Hobarton the Young. Kind of save him some trouble in the ruins himself. He's a sage. We found his shop last session, so I think we're going to head that way, and we're going to see if we can find him to turn this quest in. So let me see. I'm not sure if I need to actually undertake a journey move here. It seems a little premature. Hazardous or unfamiliar lands. Yeah, that's not right. I think if this was a game of Starforged, there's a move that allows you to just test this one time using supply to move through known locations. If I was playing Starforged here, I would use that move. But because I'm not, I don't think I'm going to need to roll on this one, so I'm just going to let it go. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to run into Hobarton, and we're going to roll this to see what his initial reaction is to us finding the history of these ruins. We tell him, so we reach his tavern, or his shop, and I'm going to roll first to decide how this narrative is going to go. Strong hit, excellent. Okay, so a strong hit on completing a vow quest goes, let me see, fulfill a vow. On a strong hit, it's complete, and we mark experience. So we can delete this. All right, let me turn on delete. We delete that quest, and then both Pembra gets 1 experience and Cormac gets 1 experience. We do have an NPC ally. His name is Zorbard. Yeah, Zorbard the Fair. He's a thief. But NPCs in this game do not have any stats. They're only narrative, and they can assist with things, but not in a strictly mechanical sense. So he gets no experience. So strong hit, which means everything's going to go well. So we meet Hobarton, and let's see what he says. I'm actually not sure what he's going to say as we describe the frescoes that we found, and we provide a map and tell him about the ruins that we find here. So I'm going to actually roll a couple of times on the Mythic tables. So Mythic is a GM emulator that works kind of like the oracles from Ironsworn, but I find that they provide, for me, a better... They spur my imagination more. So I'm going to roll on this D100 a couple of times and see what we get here. 1477. So that is Abandon Trials. Okay, so Abandon Trials, and then let's see one more. 4097. So Abandon Trials and Postpone Leadership. Okay, so this is kind of an unusual one, I think. So what's going to happen is we're going to show up, we're going to tell Hobarton what we found, provide the map, and we get the experience. So he's happy to see it, he's curious, he takes down all the notes, he says, this is great information, you've really progressed research in this section of the Undercity a great bit, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to pay you what I thought or utilize you quite the way I thought, and it's not your fault, but instead, let's see, so we've got Abandoned Trials and what was it? Postpone Leadership? Yeah, Postpone Leadership. I think the problem is that the leaders of the Sages Guild have gone missing. So the task that they had set to Hobarton, his mission of mapping this section of the guild, for some reason he's not able to complete it either. So he gives us, a handful of coins, and we're in his debt now, or he's in our debt now. But he tells us to really be careful because things are afoot in the city of Spires. The Sages Guild is one of the more powerful, more respected guilds in town, I think. And the fact that the leaders are... Let me see. So, postpone leadership. So I guess I'm not sure whether they're actually missing. I'm going to roll on this one, or whether they're doing something else. So let's see. 50-50, missing or doing something else. 89. Okay, so they're not missing. They're instead cloistered. Because 89 is over. It's 51 or higher. So the Sages Guild is having some kind of conference or seminar, or not seminar, conclave or something like that, and they have left the city of Spires temporarily, and Hobarton is too young to be invited to any kind of enclave like that. But Sages Guild work is being postponed for a short time, and there's a little bit of a, let's say, kind of a lack of services in the city. This is a big event, so that's going to impact things, I think. But for now, what I want to do is I want to make a heart roll to see if I can form a bond with this character. Actually, I'm not gonna make a heart roll on this one. Your characters in the game start with 3 bonds that they get for free. I didn't have any right now, so I'm gonna just make this guy a bond of Cormac the Cryptic. So our mages start with a bond here together. Okay, so I added Hobarton the Young, Sages Guild Novice to the list of bonds for Cormac the Cryptic. So even though he can't reward us quite the way he wanted to, or the way that we had been promised, because his own master is missing, we're too busy to focus on things like this. He's happy. He acknowledges that he's in our debt, and he and Cormac spend some time while Pembra goes out and sees the city and starts exploring more things. Cormac and Hobarton spend some time together talking about mysteries and magic and things like that. So let's see if there's any moves that we could make here. I wouldn't mind restoring my spirit. Let me see. I think the only way you can restore spirit in this one is either making camp, which does it slightly, or sojourning. And I'm not really ready to sojourn yet either, because I still want to take it a few more times to do a couple of other things. especially since all of our stats are at full. So I think right now it's just going to be narrative. We spend our time. Let's see. I guess I could have rolled, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. But now that we have a bond, I'll be able to get bonuses to rolls involving him. Okay, so what other quests do we have? Find a buyer for our tapestries. That's right. So let's ask him about the tapestries. Does he know anything about these? I think it's almost certain. So I'm going to say 75% he knows about these. He at least knows what makes them mysterious or what makes people not want to buy them. 7. He definitely does. So let me roll on the oracles for Ironsworn first, just to see if we get any flavor about what makes these tapestries special, so people don't want them, aren't willing to pay for them, since they're obviously fine work. All right. Journey Honor. Okay, so Journey of Honor. They depict a pilgrimage. Some kind of maybe religious act, kind of like the Hajj or something like that. Something that people wouldn't want to pay for, but why would they be so upset about that if they had made it before? Let me see if I can get any more info. Coordinate wound. Okay, so all of the tapestries that we've found show either maybe like a prophet character, something like that, him on a pilgrimage, but they all depict a famous wounding that he receives. So he's wounded on this pilgrimage, and takes shelter with someone in the real story. This is what Hobarton is telling us. Let me get this prophet's name. So I'm going to pull up my Holmesian random name generator here. Okay, and I got Dorleth the Hooded. Kind of a cool name. So let me add that to our list. Oh, shoot, I've got a lot of stuff open here. Alright, so threads. Alright, so it shows Dorleth the Hooded, who's the prophet of the city of Spires. And it shows a scene from his life where he's wounded and he takes refuge with a certain group of people who treat him well. But the thing about these tapestries is that they all show the same scene, but from a different perspective. They show the person who wounded him, or the group that wounded him. It shows them doing it, and it's painted in triumphant colors, or woven in triumphant colors. So it's clear that this is the story of some people attacking some kind of tyrant or enemy, and so rather than being the triumphant return that they see, it's instead a kind of a sacrilegious. They're sacrilegious tapestries, and so people in the village, in the town, do not want them. And so Hobarton says it's dangerous to even have these. If any of the priests found you with them, they'd wonder where they got them, and you'd be brought in for questioning at the least, charged with apostasy perhaps. So the party is, Pembra and Cormac are certainly glad they carried them rolled up now. And they asked, does he think that he would have? Yeah, I'm going to give myself a check here for marking progress on that. I think just finding out why people don't want them, that's good enough to be worth the progress point here. But now let's see. Does he know anyone who might be able to find? Does he know anybody who might be a buyer? Let me see. I think that might be a gather wits roll, and I'm going to allow Cormac to take that. And I get to add +1 because I'm asking a question of a person who I have a bond with. I wish I didn't have my full momentum right now because I'm really missing out on it. Weak hit, and I can't even burn my momentum to improve it. So the information complicates my quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what I discover and take +1 momentum. Can't take the 1 momentum, but let's ask the Oracle to see what kind of information is going to complicate our quest to sell these. Challenge community. Okay, so he's going to say, you're certainly not going to be able to sell this in the city of Spires, but there are, out in the wilderness beyond the town, if you head east into the wilderness, there are tribes people, where they get like, not yeah, how can I say it? Like herder type people, like Bedouin style. There's a tribes group here that are ancestors of the people who were originally in this area, and they might be interested in buying it because they're of a different religion, some kind of shamanistic cult instead. So they're not really Bedouins, but it's just some kind of shamanistic traveling group. And so he said, if I take it out there, one of them might be able to purchase it if I was really desperate to sell it. So I'm going to mark that down as a thread. Let's see here. Okay, so they travel to the migrant tribes to see if they are interested. Okay, and now the question is, do I want to do that right now? It would be quite a bit of work to head out into the desert, I think, but it might be a nice way to make some money. I've still got these conch shells, so I've got enough money to sell to easily get the resupply quests that I need, so that's not that big of a deal. But let me see, is it worth heading out for one experience point? That second experience point, if I get it, would be enough to get us all a level up on one of our stats. But I could also head back into the dungeon to try to find these kobolds to help out Paul the Merciless, the sorcerer who's looking for a runaway kobold thief. But we haven't received very many kobold-related clues, so I'm going to need to start using a little bit more GM fiat here when I get certain bonuses or certain good rolls. I might start including a couple of these things on it. But for now, I think I'm going to just take a short jaunt into the dungeon. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just do a short dungeon section here where we're going to head back in, do some exploring, maybe head out south there or east here, stay on the second floor and see what we can find. So let's head into the dungeon, and we're going to start with the move to delve the depths. Let's see here. And so we are going to roll a Wits Roll as Cormac. I'm not going to take the time to resupply or sojourn. I'm going to keep my 4 spirit, and we'll just hope that we're fine. Okay, so let's roll wits. We don't have our +1 add because we're not sharing a bond. And let's roll. A miss. Oh my gosh. So what happens if we miss on a delve the depths roll? Oh, I need to get my actual book up. Okay, on a miss I have to reveal a danger. So let's roll reveal a danger. So we roll D100. Or I could try this one. Reveal a danger. Face an environmental or architectural hazard. Okay, so what kind of hazard would we have here? I guess that sounds like a trap for sure, especially in a dungeon like this. So environmental or architectural hazard. Let's roll on the traps type. Let's see, does Delve have a trap oracle? I believe it does. Trap. Move stone. Okay, a stonefall. So we're heading along this way. We head back into the dungeon. We move east here, up through this falling in room, through this trash pit that we found, down the stairs into this cave. And as we're in the cave, there's an earthquake. I don't think this is an intentional quest or an intentional trap, since we've been here so many times before, and a deadfall would be quite hard to do. So we're in here, the earth starts to shake slightly, and then a bunch of stones start to tumble down on our head. And I think we have to make face danger wits here, or face danger edge, to avoid them. I'm going to make Cormac roll, because he was the one who was leading the adventure. And so we're just going to roll straight attribute. Strong hit. Lucky. Okay. So we face the danger. He's able to dodge. I wonder if I should have... I'm going to have Pembra face danger also. That seems more fair. So let's roll. Miss for her. So this is probably not a big danger, so I think I'll just have her take 1 health point worth of damage. I'm not going to use her momentum on that. We'll save it for an actual fight. Okay, so she's struck. As they're walking, it starts to shake, and Cormac ducks to the side. He's able to roll out of the way, or maybe Zorbird dodges out of the way, and Cormac uses a light spell to blast a stone that's falling on him. But Pembra, she tries to dodge, and as she does, a big hunk of stone falls and smashes into the plate on her shoulder, and it knocks her down. Fortunately, the plate withstands it. She's not hurt too bad, but her shoulder is wrenched slightly, and so as they walk out the rest of the cave, she's kind of working her shoulder to try to stay limber and stay alert. Okay, so we took a damage, seems fair, and then we end up back here in 10, which is kind of this chamber that we found in a previous session where they make mummies and zombies. It was some kind of preparation chamber. And so we can choose to go east, south, or through one of these doors. I'm going to go east because I want to explore more of this side of the dungeon, and I want to open it up a little more. So now I'm going to switch back to Ruins of the Undercity, which is our dungeon generator, and I'm going to see what's on the other side of this door. Okay, so it's nothing special, but we got a damp and moldy corridor that stretches off in two directions, completely unlit. So we're going to... And fortunately, it's made out of flagstone, so I can do it with nice level drawing here rather than having to do the caves there, which I'm not very good at drawing. Okay, so we open it, or we step into this unlit flagstone cavern, and we can choose which way to go. I'm going to head east still, and so let's roll on the corridor feature again and see what continues. All right, we actually got our first wandering monster check, and the monster that we got is a giant centipede. Creepy. Okay. And that says there's a 30% chance they're ambushing us from behind. So let's see. 55. No, they're not coming from behind. So as the party heads down the corridor here, their lantern, it catches just a glimpse of movement in the shadows, and then as they step forward, the shadows kind of coalesce into these long 3 or 4 foot long, thick like a raccoon, 100-legged beasts that are like skittering across the floor and crawling up onto the walls at them. And so I'm not sure how many there are, but we're on a level 2, so I'm going to say this is just going to be a dangerous fight. It could be worse, but because we've got Zorbird now, I think there's 3 of us, so I think we've got an okay chance on them. So let's roll up a fight here. Progress. Fight giant centipedes. Dangerous. Okay, so now it's time to enter the fray. And we were not ambushed because they're coming at us from the front. So I don't think we need to enter the fray with wits. So I think it's heart. We're facing off against our foe. So let's see. Strong hit. We take +2 momentum, which we don't need, and we have initiative. Boy, I'm really missing out by losing all this momentum. But it is what it is, so let's fight. I think I'm going to have Cormac start the battle. He's going to use his... Let's see, I'm not going to allow him to fight with edge, but I think I will have him, or with wits. I will have him use edge, which represents his limited range magic ability. So let's have him roll a strike move. A hard miss. Okay, now it's time to roll momentum, or to burn our momentum. So we're going to turn that into a strong hit. So on a strong hit, we inflict +1 harm and retain initiative. So excellent. So he casts a spell, and a bolt of magic missile burns through and just incinerates one of the centipedes, which falls dead immediately. So using deadly weapons, you get to mark progress twice. So and in dangerous, each progress is worth 2 boxes. But because we got a strong hit, we get to mark it 1 more time. And we still have initiative. So now it's Pembra's turn, and she's going to fight as well. I don't think she's going to aid an ally. I think this is just a nice place to try to clash, or to try to strike again. And let's just finish this battle. Strong hit, no problem. Okay. So this is going to be kind of a nothing fight. We're getting powerful enough, and then we're going to try to end the fight here. Take decisive action. So we have to score a strong hit, and then we can resolve the outcome of the fight. Strong hit, strong hit. Okay. They're killed, out of action, flee, or surrender. So the first centipede dies to the magic missile. The second and third ones come on, and Zorbird throws a dagger. It sinks deep into the carapace of the one of the remaining 2, and it kind of squeals and starts leaking purplish blood. And then Pembra steps forward, and she takes her sword, and she just cleaves the other one straight in half, right down the middle. And so the three centipedes lie dead on the floor. And the party looks around. but they don't see anything. Nobody seems to have noticed the fight. It was over in just a few seconds. So happily, they decide to continue. So let's roll. Now it's time for another Delve the Depths move. So we're going to roll Wits. A weak hit. So let's see what happens on a weak hit of this type. Alright, so we roll a D100, 79. That is, we can mark progress or find an opportunity. So I don't think this is a right time to find an opportunity. So I think just moving on is better here. It seems too good in this style of game to be able to just give ourselves bonuses every time. So I'm just going to say we progress. So we're not actually marking progress anymore. We are going to... Oh, we're on the wrong guy. We have our dungeon here, the Undercity, which is located in the city of Spires. And we're going to we're going to give it 1 progress token every time we complete a delve. So we can't actually give progress there, and then that means after 40 adventures we'll be about completing the dungeon. But so instead, we'll just take progress as it is, which means we're going to move on, and we're going to get to roll again on our map, or on our dungeon generator. Alright, we get a large 30 by 40 foot chamber with 3 exits. That's exciting. So there we go. And the exits are on the opposite wall and the left and right walls. Okay, cool. So here, we'll put that there. Alright. And so, like the corridor, this chamber is dark, and we're not quite sure what's in it until we reach it, and Cormac's lantern illuminates it. So let's see what's inside. Alright, I actually rolled half flooded, which is only 10%, but I've rolled it like 3 times so far this game. I don't think I like it. That's just not that interesting for me, so I'm going to roll again. 44, refuse and putrid smell. Okay, that's not much better, but at least it's not the exact same that I keep getting. So we'll put room 15 in here. Alright, and then we'll roll to see what it contains. 4, it's an empty room. Okay, so it's just a putrid... a room that stinks. And there's refuse in it, but as we poke through, we just don't find anything. So this is some kind of pass-through chamber that something has used as a refuse pile, a midden heap. But there's nothing of note that we see as we explore it. So we're going to turn and head... We'll continue heading east, and we'll see what's that direction. So let's roll for our Delve the Depths move again. Okay, so we'll roll Wits. A miss. Ooh, again, and we have no momentum. Okay, so let's see. I think that means we're going to be facing a danger. Let's see. Yep. Miss, reveal a danger, and let's see what our danger is. Oops. Alright, reveal a danger. You encounter a hostile denizen. Okay, another wandering monster. But I think this time... I'm just going to choose, because we've adventured enough, I think this time it's going to be one of our kobolds. We've been looking for this quest. We haven't made any progress in a while. So I think we're going to be facing a kobold ambush here. So we head out east, and as we journey, all of a sudden a trio of spears or something is cast at us. And we see a couple of small dog-like men sprint off into the darkness. And so we're going to have to face danger. I'll have Pembra face danger with iron to see if her shield can catch him. Strong hit, yeah. She doesn't have any momentum, or she doesn't have room for momentum. Okay, so anyway, the only spear that comes in, it smacks off her shield, and she blocks it. But then the kobolds are gone back into the darkness. So I think we're going to want to chase them. And so for that, we'll roll Edge. We'll roll Delve the Depths with Edge. A weak hit. So let's roll on our D100 table, 77. So let's see what that is. Okay, that's mark progress or find an opportunity. So I think this is going to be our find an opportunity section, because we're getting an opportunity to make progress on our quest. So let's see. 57. You locate a secure area. This doesn't necessarily make sense, but okay, so Maybe find an opportunity wasn't right here. Maybe mark progress would have been better. But we're just going to roll with it because that's what we rolled and we don't want to slow the game down. So secure area, I'm going to say that we reach a chamber, or a room actually. And this room is the fortified cave of some kobolds. So I'm going to mark progress on the kobold quest here. Actually, I think I'll wait. I'm not going to mark progress yet, but let's see what size this room is. I got 18, which is probably going to be quite large. It's a special area. Let's see. And that's an octagonal room, 10 foot per side. That's going to be hard to draw. I'm going to pause this while I try to figure that out. Okay. It looks pretty janky because I'm not good at figuring out how to draw those, but that's okay. It's our octagonal room, and it's got one exit on the same wall. So I don't want to do the same wall because like I said, I'm really bad at drawing stuff coming off the sides here. So I'm going to do just a wall coming out this way, a door coming out this way. So first we've got a door here. Oh, wrong layer. We've got a door here. And a door there. Let me change the style there. Okay, so we've got these two doors in this chamber, this fortified chamber, and inside I see, the door is still open as we run down the corridor, and the kobolds are sprinting through it, and they try to slam it closed, but just as they do, Pemba rushes forward and she slams her arm into the door, and it slams closed on her, metal-plated forearm, and she shouts, but it doesn't break her arm, it doesn't break through her armor. And she shoulders the door open, and inside is a wall of spikes and spears, and like a dozen kobolds all standing there, pointed right at the door, ready to throw their spears or shoot their slings. And the party's just like, oh, shoot. We'll keep it G-rated. Oh, shoot, they're going to say, as they stare down the barrel of this entire kobold warband that they just chased into the darkness. All right, and I think I'm going to make this one a short session. We had a little bit of a slow time getting started, and it's getting a little late here. So I think we're gonna call it here, and when we come back next time, we're gonna have this battle with these kobolds here in this fortified chamber underground, and we're gonna see if we can get any information on this famous particular scarred kobold, and if we can find Ha-Dapal's treasure, and maybe find an inn with a sorcerer of some note in the city who can maybe give us some more quests. So thank you guys all for joining me. I hope you're liking the episode and the series so far. Please leave any notes you have in the comments, any advice on things I could be doing better, whether it's related to actual creating these videos or if it's related to playing. Playing these games is definitely a skill that someone gets better at. And so I'm always interested in hearing from players who are more experienced than me or have found things that work for them. So yeah, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the thumbs up button and the bell to be notified if you're interested. Thank you all very much, and I will see you all next week. Have a great day.